another vlog. I am really excited for this one. So I have not done a vlog in a while, but before I get to talking about what I'm working on, first of all, hi, my name is Vanessa. I am the owner of Glitter Fritter. I make amigurumi, I crochet them. Here's a lineup of what I have done so far. There will be more coming. I've kind of taken a tiny break from designing amigurumi right now, just because I am also an author and I have a few books coming out. I have just pitched a new series to my publisher, and so I'm working on finalizing all of those details. And so I've gotten a tiny bit busy. So I have to put that on hold for a while, but I have not stopped creating, and that's what this channel is for. So I think I really want to concentrate on just like having this channel, chatting with you guys. I just love YouTube in general. I do have an author YouTube, and I adore being there. I love the people I get to meet on there. I love talking to people in the comments, and so I really wanted to do that with my obsession with yarn. And so that's what we're doing here. It's basically me sharing with you guys whatever I do in the knitting and crochet kind of area of life. So if that sounds like something that you want to be a part of, then make sure that you're subscribed, that you hit the bell notification so you don't miss any upcoming videos. But back to the vlog. So I do really love doing these. Sometimes, like I said, I get like an impromptu idea for a project, and so I don't necessarily always record all of my vlogs, but this time I'm super excited. So I just finished the project. I finished knitting 2 socks at a time for the first time ever, and I will be talking more about those in one of my podcast episodes, but I finished that, and I kind of been doing like a lot of knitting back to back, and so I really wanted to crochet something, and I really wanted to crochet something that I can wear or use or do something like that. And I have been kind of looking in my stash, and I realized that I have a whole bunch of Wool is Air yarn that I bought when it was on clearance at Michael's. And so I bought three skeins of it, and I got, oh, this one has a hair. So these are the colors that I got. So I got this beige brown situation. I got this baby blue, and I got this kind of pastel green. Now, when I got these, I had no clue what I was going to do with them. And I didn't for the longest time, but they are squishy as heck. Like, I will tell you, like, if this was if I was out in the forest and all I had was this to use as a pillow or a sleeping bag, I would be fine, because it is that squishy. It's really soft. I know people talk about it having inconsistencies with this yarn, where you could some of it is just down to the bare thread and stuff, but I will tell you what I'm going to be using it for, and I'm going to be making with it. And I feel like that situation is not really going to matter. So my plan is to make this pattern. So this is Ruffle Bag, and the Bella Ruffle Bag, I'm going to post it right here. And so when I saw this, I was looking for a bag because I only have the 3 skeins. So I'm like, what can I do? And I really love the idea of a super plushy, furry kind of bag. I have a faux fur bag that's really shaggy, and I just love it for a purse. And so I wanted something that's a bit larger, and I think this one will do really well. And as you can see, there's 3 layers of ruffle to crochet, and I have 3 colors. And so my plan was, so I wanted to have this kind of green as the bottom ruffle, and then to have this as the ruffle on top, and to end it with this as the toppest ruffle of it. And I was going to do the handle and the base, the in between the ruffle part of the bag, in a regular non-air, basically either a wool, just a regular wool ease, or an acrylic that's the same kind of, or a cotton acrylic mix that's the same shape as this, so that it would look like it's flowing into the fur balls. So that was the plan. Now, I'm really excited about this plan. I think it's going to do well. I do feel like when it's all said and done, I might not need to line this bag, because the inside would not be this material, this kind of yarn. It's not going to be this. So I think if it's just regular, this is why I'm kind of sticking to more a cotton acrylic blend, if I can manage to find a good match for this, because then I won't need to line it. And I just hate lining bags. Honestly, I feel like after I made them, I just want to go out and wear them, and I don't want to stitch a lining in, because then I have to find thread that matches. I just want to deal with it. So I'm hoping that I won't need to line it. And oh, what is this? That's weird. So hopefully I don't need to. But the only trouble is that the closest match in like a wool ease or a so the pattern calls for number 4 medium yarn. This is 6. Because they're the ruffles, I think will be okay. If anything, the bag will just be a bit larger, and that's okay. But I don't want like the entire bag to be like super ginormous. Like I don't want to clutch the size of a suitcase. And so I do want to stick to the base, the color that matches this, to be either a 4 or maybe a 5, kind of like step up. I might go to a 5 and then just take my crochet hook size down from what the actual yarn recommends, closer to what the pattern recommends. And I think that will get me into like more or less the same gauge, probably not the same, but the closest, so it won't be too oversized. But the problem was I only have this as the closest match. As you can see, it's much darker, and I'm not going to get that whole transition that I want. Like it's just going to look like another stripe on the handle, which will be fine when I kind of line up like all the colors together. Like that looks fine, but it's not the effect I want. So here's what we're doing today. I am going to be blocking my socks today. So I'm going to be busy doing all of that and kind of sewing up and I'm finishing the toes on those. So I might not get to start crocheting this bag until later this evening anyways. And so we're going to go to Michael's and we're going to see if there's like a sale or something that I can hit where we're going to bring like a whole bunch of this with us. I might do like a quick little swatch just to kind of see what it will look like before, so I can take that with me to the store and then we can see what we find that matches this fairly perfectly, because I think that will make me very happy. So let's do that. We are at Michael's. We have arrived. I have my little sample here, and this worked out pretty nice. It does definitely have that like super acrylic, like squeaky feeling. So I don't know, like it's a nice enough yarn. I don't think I would ever make clothing with it, but I will say that it looks very much like boucle. And so if you were looking to do like a boucle hat with this as like a double rim and a beanie inside of a different color, this would work really well as an alternative. But I do have my tiny little swatch and we're going to go and see what we can find. Let's go. Got it. Okay, there's quite a few options, surprisingly, which I was shocked about. I didn't think there would be. I thought like I'd be stuck with something. Now there was a Patents kind of wool blend, fake wool, I don't know, acrylic, I guess, wool blend. That was like spot on. You'll see in some of the footage that I got, it was spot on. It was exactly it. But I don't know if I want to be holding like the handle part where my hand is, because this is more of a handbag, and I might be wearing it in the summer. I don't want to be holding wool in my sweaty little hands. And so I kept going back and forth, and I was looking at like cotton blends and stuff like that. And then I found this, which is the Cuddle Craft tube. So it's a tube, a t-shirt, basically a t-shirt yarn. And it's on number 4. Now also the Patents was a number 3, so I would have to hold it double or figure something else out. And so I worried that was too of a difference between the weights of the yarn. But this one, like the sample that they had, because they have samples now, which is great. And the sample looked exactly like what you would want for like a bag or stuff like that. So I think it's made for like baskets, bags, things like that. It's perfect for that. And so I thought that would work really well. Now, let me just hold up my little swatch. It's pretty close. It's lighter. So it's not like exactly spot on. It's definitely lighter. But I think with the other colors, like it will still work well because of the different texture of this and how this is like a specific t-shirt one. It's not just a wool that's continuing. I think that might work in my favor as well. And I've always wanted to try a t-shirt blend. Plus, this is Loops and Threads, and Loops and Threads was on sale. And I had a Michael's gift card. So this project is costing me nothing. Well, it's costing me what I spent on the Air yarn like way back when. But just for this specific day, it's costing me nothing, which we love. So now I'm pretty excited. I'm going to finish those socks, do all the other work that I have, and hopefully I can get started on some of this bag today. And I will fill you in tomorrow when I am refreshed on what's going on. And if I don't start it today, we can start it together tomorrow. Yay! I am just getting ready to step out. It is very gloomy outside, as you can probably tell by the lighting. But I have a doctor's appointment, and I have some narrating to do for a book I'm working on. But I wanted to update you what I did. So I did get to work a bit on the bag yesterday, and I want to show you how far I got. So this is how far I got. So I got the first portion of the base down, and then I got the slip stitch with the new color, which is that green air, attached to it. And I kind of stopped there, and then I did the decrease round at the end because now I'm ready to work the ruffle, and I thought that would be like a good way to stop. And I wanted to stop here so I can kind of show this to you, what it's starting to look like, so you can really see like the shape of the bag starting to take form, and then where that ruffle is going to form. And I kind of wanted to talk to you a little bit about this. So I am using the Crochet Dreams pattern. It's a free pattern. You can find it on Ravelry, and also on the Crochet Dreams website. And I'm also following along with Crochet with Clara did a tutorial on how to make this bag. And she had permission from the designer of the bag to do so. So you kind of have like a 2-for-1, and I don't really need it. The pattern is well written. It's a bit overwritten, like there's some stuff that's over explained, but it is good if you're like new to crochet and you've never like made a bag before or something. So it is like helpful to have it overwritten. I don't need that much writing, but it is a well-written pattern. It's very easy to understand. It's very easy to work through. But I like having the YouTube because it almost feels like a crochet along, and it's keeping me going, which has really been fun. So a few things. So the yarn that I have, so I'm using the same Aran Weight number 4, basically yarn that the pattern recommends. But because I think I'm using this t-shirt yarn, it is coming out smaller. So I had to add an extra row on top here because I don't want it to be too narrow. It's looking bigger on camera, but it's actually smaller than the size that I'm seeing like on the video and the final product looks to be. So we'll see. And also I wanted it like a tiny bit deeper so I can put like more stuff inside. So there's that. The other thing that this pattern calls for is it asks you to turn. So you are going in a round, but you're turning at the end of every single round. And so what that ends up doing so if you have a yarn that's more like a wool yarn and has a bit of like halo to it to cover some of that, you wouldn't have this issue. But this has no halo. And so you can see every single stitch. The stitch definition on this, by the way, this yarn, fabulous. Hard on the hands, fabulous stitch definition. But what it ends up doing is it forms these little kind of little balls basically from where that turn happens, and then you start chaining and going back the opposite way. So you get like a little ball, which looks very different from this side of the bag, which is more smoother in that half double crochet. So the whole thing is done in half double crochet. But this side is a lot smoother than this side. And what it also does is, do you see how this side is pretty like a nice smooth decrease here, and this one starts to get a bit wonky because of this yarn and those balls, but ruffles are going to hide all of that, so I'm not too worried. If you are a perfectionist, I would think that I don't see why you wouldn't be able to just keep going and around and around and around without turning. I do understand that they did it so that the bag doesn't have like a right side and wrong side, but to be honest with you, your wrong side, if you're properly working around, it's going to be inside the bag. So it's like, who cares whether you have a right side or a wrong side, you know? So I would have just gone all around. Knowing this, I already kind of made my way like all through it. And so I was just not too worried, you know, about any of that. So anyway, so you do slip stitch to end around. There's like a whole, you know, thing that happens. It's written funny because it's written like, instead of saying half double crochet decrease, it says half double crochet like HDC 2 TOG, so 2 together, which I mean, I feel like if you say half double crochet decrease, it's just more self-explanatory for most people, but that's how it's written. It took me a second to wrap my head around that. And I was like, oh, it's a decrease. But other than that, honestly, it's a great pattern, super easy. I am like excited. So here are, like the balls, you can see them more just so you can, I don't know, I feel like I am bothered, but I'm more bothered about what's happening here. It also could be that my tension in this, so here's another reason why this I think is happening. My tension in the yarn kind of evened out as I went along. And obviously where you have like slips and stuff, that evens out your tension even more. But when you're going around, oh, sorry, oh my God, I have super allergies, I think. But when you're going around, it like when it tightens it in certain parts, and so I think it gives it like and then I kind of did an extra one here. Again, once the ruffle comes in, and especially because my ruffle is in this thicker yarn, you're not going to be able to see it. It's just going to be a ball of thick yarn on top, so you won't see it. And inside, it's not noticeable like either, but you can kind of see the inside of the bag starting to take shape, which I really like. And I did test it by putting like my phone in it, and even like a small book in it, and that seemed to really work. So a couple things about the pattern, because I was so excited to go buy yarn at Michael's and look around for something that matches, that I didn't mention. So and this is off of Ravelry, so I'm not giving away the pattern, although it is a free pattern. So but still, go and get it and support the designer. So you're going to be using two hook sizes, a 4mm and a 5mm. So you're using the 4mm for pretty much everything, and the 5 you're using it to do this slip stitch border to attach to it. And the reason that it's a 5 is that a 4mm would make the bag kind of cinch in a bit more, be too much pressure on it, and so there's a 5 there. Now I'm using a 4.5, which is what this yarn was asking for to make the bag, or you would think it would make the bag bigger, but it's not looking good. And I'm using a 5.5 for the air, because it asked for a 6. I went one lower because I don't want it to be too much of a discrepancy between the two. But I also did a sample. That sample I was using in the store, that was a sample in a 5, and I found that it didn't have enough movement, so I want the ruffle to be a bit more flowy, so I went with 5.5. So those are the two hook sizes I'm using. Now the yardage, so the pattern says it's using somewhere between 500 and 520 yards, or in my case, I look at meters, and 457 to 475 meters. Now in the actual pattern, the meterage is all in one color, and so that includes the ruffles too. So you're probably looking, if you're splitting off the ruffles like on their own, I'm thinking you're looking at probably like a third of that. So maybe around like 150 to 200 meters for the actual body of the bag. Now, I only got one skein, which is 100 meters. So I'm going to go, I might still have enough. I don't know if I'll have enough for the candle, but I might pick up another one and then just not use it and return it if I don't need it, because I'm not going to be using this t-shirt yarn again. I don't think. It's a pretty cool yarn, and I like it for like bags, and I think it'll be good for like a looser kind of basket or something, but my hands do not like it, and I'm not going to put myself in pain anymore. So yeah, so it says it's one size, and it's as big as an oversized clutch, which I suppose like that's what I mean. It would be. Mine is just a regular clutch size, I think, which is again fine. And I think that's all that we have on this pattern. Yeah, that's all that we have on this pattern on Ravelry. And I just want to see if we have anything on, let me just do a search. So I just have my little, I just want to see if there's anything different. Bella Ruffle Bag. And I'm going to link both the pattern and the YouTube video below. So I'm going to look at patterns, and we're looking at Crochet with Claire, which is the YouTube. So Crochet with Claire used DK size. So that's why hers, see, there we go. So she used the DK size. So hers is looking much larger than mine, which I feel like maybe I should have gone with that. So I didn't make such a tiny little bag, but the tiny might be good. And she used a hook size of 4.5, and I believe she switched to a 5 to do that slip stitch. So not too much written on it otherwise, but I think those are some of the things that you should know if you're going to do this pattern. And with that said, I'm going to head out and do some of the errands that I have to run, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to I want to get through. So my plan is to get through the first 2 ruffles and set it up for the next ruffle today, if I can, or at least get through the first 2 ruffle layers so I can show that to you guys. And then tonight, and that includes probably working tonight after like my kid goes to bed. And then tomorrow's a Thursday, by the way, and I want to post this on Saturday, so Friday I'll have to edit it. And then tomorrow I would like to finish the bag. So let's see if we can, I essentially want to make this bag in about 2 days and an evening. So that's the plan. So let's see what we can do. But for now, errands await. Guess what? So we got the first ruffle down, and it's like exactly how I pictured it to be. So with the ruffle, the bag is looking larger, which I'm really happy about. I'm gonna kind of hold it in half. There's a lot of markers happening because you have to mark off where you want your decrease stitches to fall, so that they're kind of like even across on the edges. And it's looking like a little hot dog bun from the top with some lettuce sticking out because of the colors I chose. But it's literally like it's giving what it's supposed to be giving. So a couple of things about the air. Sorry if you can hear my toddler in the background. I always have to apologize for that. She gets loud. But a couple of notes about the boucle yarn. So the way you make these ruffles is if you ever made a scrunchie, then this is what you're making. You're just going around, you're doing 3 double crochets in one on like that first one to do the ruffle, and then 2 rows of double crochets. But if you ever made a boucle scrunchie, then you're doing what I'm doing with this yarn, right? Because it's got that like texture and it's a lot more just squishy than the regular yarn would be on a ruffle. But also because of that, the stitch definition in this is for this type of yarn is not bad, but we are like, you're working on vibes, you know, and not so much like what you see, but the vibes are vibing. Like it's not as hard. It actually didn't take very long at all. I think it took me like an hour while watching to do this, and there's quite a bit. You end up with almost 300 stitches across and like 5 rounds or something. So that's a decent amount to do in an hour. But I'm obsessed. And as I said, this is that weird little corner completely hidden by this gigantic ruffle. So now try to picture it with all the other colors like on top that I'm sitting on, but like this one followed by, oh my God, this one followed by this one, like that's going to be the bag. And then we're going to finish with the handle in this material. I think it's literally big, like it's looking kind of like what I had in my head. I am super excited. I'm going to be going over to a friend's for drinks, like a backyard drinks. And I have a dress that is green and blue with a crochet neckline. And I think this bag would look so perfect with that outfit. So I'll do some pictures when I style it, maybe if I can get good lighting for Instagram and stuff. And for this channel, I'll do it in the community share so you can kind of see the bag in action with my matching dress because I'm a nerd. But I'm really, really happy with it. Now, I do believe that I can finish the 2 raffles like I thought. I do have to get some more work done. I did this on my lunch break. So I'm going to go get some work done. And then afterwards, the goal is to build up until the next ruffle and just work on that and then see what we can do. And I can update you on that. If it's not too late tonight, then tonight. But if it's going to be later tonight, then I'll update you on that tomorrow. But so far, my hot dog bun, my bag hot dog bun is great. And it really has like a good amount of space to put stuff in. Oh, and I should show you. This is what I still have left of this Wool Ease Air. yarn. I don't know what I'm going to make with it, but I think I use like, I want to say approximately half. I haven't weighed it, but I would think it's approximately half. I don't know what I'm going to make with it because, to be honest with you, like I don't like, even looking at this, like it's quite sheddy, and it looks like nice and puffy, and I feel like you could do a really cool kind of like super oversized beanie with this. But the problem with that is that the yarn to me feels like it was made out of recycled plastic bottles. And I just don't want that anywhere like near, like this, it's soft and it works. But when you're working on it, like it's got this, like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's this weird texture. So if you have worked with this yarn before, tell me what you made with it, because I feel like at the end of this project, I'm still going to have quite a bit. Like I could probably make a second one of these bags. But I don't want to do that. So I'd want to make something else. I was also thinking maybe like some pillows, but it's pretty sheddy. Like it's like, look, this is me. And another note is that if you are a center pull type of person, this is not for you. There is no center pull on this. I tried to find it and I couldn't even like get the guts out. Like that's how tightly packed in there, and the yarn really sticks to itself because of that plasticky part of it. So I will say that that's probably like, it is 74% acrylic, but it does have 13% wool and 13% polyester. And I am guessing that because it is largely made from acrylic, when you add the wool to it, the combination of those two is what makes it that kind of a rough kind of texture when you're working with it. But for something like this, totally cool. Looks really, really awesome. I'm very, very excited to see what I can do with this bag. It's going to look very different from the samples that I've seen knitted up on Ravelry, and I think that that's going to be fun. So let's see what we can do with this. And I'm actually really, really excited to see it with this blue color on top, because it's going to start looking like a proper little pastel cone. So let's see what that's going to look like. Okay, welcome back. So a couple of updates. My kid got sick, and since she is 3, she's basically like the carrier monkey from that old virus movie. So we're all sick. So I'm under the weather, but I'm taking it as a chance because I can't really do too much work. I have to take it easier. So I took it as a chance to get ahead on this project and get it closer to being done. And I am happy to say that we have all 3 ruffles. So we got all 3 ruffles done, and it's looking super wild. I really love this. Like, I love how the ruffles all look together, and now I'm kind of ready to just do the handle. So I think we're going to do that today. So a couple of things. This next layer and this color, it was really lower quality than the other 2. Next thing is the digging is back with construction. I will keep saying that. That is currently the background music of our lives, and will be for several years because they're basically building in my backyard. So that's where we are. But the ruffles look great. So last night I finished the blue ruffle, and then I kind of started building up the base for the final ruffle, and I made the final ruffle. Now, the final ruffle in the pattern is designed to be longer than the other 2 ruffles, and I am assuming that that is because if you were using all the same yarn, so if you weren't using this wild little yarn like I am, you wanted to kind of like drape more over. The ruffles will drape more naturally if you're using like a regular yarn. But mine doesn't do that, doesn't drape. It just kind of sits there like a little clown collar, which I love. But I kind of wish, knowing that I listened to my gut and made it the same size as all the other ones, so that it would kind of taper in more. The bag would like have a bit even more pronounced taper, because it has a bit of it, but not too much. But we'll see. I think once the handle is in, it will accentuate that taper and it will be fine. Now, the pattern does ask for the handle to be crocheted on a smaller hook. So I think I originally misread it actually, because originally I think you're supposed to do everything on that 5mm hook, and then drop it down to 4.25 for the handle part. And then go up a size for when you're doing those slip stitches around. And I assumed you're doing everything on that smaller hook on the 4.25, and then the slip stitches are the 5. So that's kind of where I misread it, and that's not the pattern's fault. It was written in there, but because it was so overwritten, I kind of like skipped over some of the words, which is on me. I should have read it better. But considering that I did the whole thing on 4.5 anyways because of that t-shirt yarn that I'm using, I think I'm okay. I might continue just using the 4.5. I'm going to try out going down to a 4. I don't have a 4.25. It's not like a standard hook size that I use like ever. I basically have like for all of these types of sizes, like I use like a 2.75 for my amigurumi, and I use my Odyssey for that, and then I use a 3.5 sometimes for slightly bigger cotton yarn, and then a 5.5, like 3.5 and 5.5, and the like the 3 and 275 and 225 are kind of like my go-tos, right? So sorry, I've used 225 for the finals of my amigurumis. So those are kind of like my go-tos. And then for everything else, I do have a set of the Clover or More hooks that has like a wider variety of hooks, and then a couple of tulip reds. So I don't have a 4.25. It didn't come in the set. I do not have it. So I'm going to try with the 4, see how I feel. If it's too hard on my hands, if I'm not seeing too much of a difference with this type of yarn, or if it's making it way too small for there to even be like a proper handle to fit, because I have to fit a handle into this. Like I can't just like hold it with my 2 fingers. So I'll see how it looks. And if it looks good on the smaller handle and it's a bit tighter and stronger, then yeah, I'll use that. But if it doesn't, I'll keep with the 4.5. But I think we're literally like very, very close to finishing this. I'm super excited to show this to you guys. I do have my yarn tucked inside here. I might have enough to not have to even open any of the extra skeins that I picked out, which will be great. I also, the way that it is, so I don't think I'm going to line it. I think it's fine without. I wish there was a pocket, so I might line it later in the future. I'll kind of see. What I will definitely do probably at the end is put a little magnetic closure somewhere here. But size-wise, it's pretty good. Like it fits a phone. It'll fit like a couple like keys, a couple of things you might need to go out. It's definitely a small clutch, but it does look better because of the actual ruffles. So I'm really liking it so far. I'm excited to see it with the handle. So let's go do that. It's done. I finished. Oh my gosh. So it didn't take very long to finish. I did the handle. It's hard to tell because of my super obnoxious ruffles that I made. But there's the handle there. So the way this handle works is you obviously skip and chain to make the hole for the handle, and then you go around with a slip stitch as your final round to kind of solidify that border and make it a bit stronger, and it just gives it a nice little finish. And then you do the same thing with the handle. Now that does make the handle smaller, so I didn't account for that, but because it was such a small kind of top of bag already, I don't think I would have wanted the handle any bigger. And like my hand fits in it fine, and it does stretch, so when I hold it up, like can we just talk about how cute this is? Like it's just a ruffle, like it's in one giant ruffle. So I did put like a little tag on it, just those handmade tags, and that was strategic to cover up those balls that were formed by the slip stitch and turn situation on this yarn. But I mean, honestly, like I'm really happy with this. This one ruffle won't stay perfect for some reason. I'm super happy with this. It fits like a good amount of everything I needed to fit. And the bottom is nice. I still am undecided if I want to line it. So I maybe you can tell me in the comments, because that's what it kind of looks like inside, and it's fine. I think a really cool like a baby blue or like a baby green bandana to line it might be kind of nice for that extra pattern. Because if I do line it, I would want it to have a pattern, I think, to match kind of the eccentric feel of this bag. So I wouldn't mind lining it. But my problem with that is I don't want to lose too much real estate inside the bag by lining it, because it's shaped this way. And like, unless I put in like a ton of work to shape the lining and really tailor in those corners, do a pocket, the whole thing, it's going to take a bunch of work. So I haven't put the closure on it yet, because I'm undecided about the lining. I feel like I might end up lining it. Like, I do feel like maybe next week or something, after I sit with it for a while, I might think about lining this, and I'll see what fabrics I have around in the house that I can use, because I feel like I might have some fabrics lying around that might work really well for this. Maybe some old scarves or something I can upcycle. But otherwise, I'm really like, tell me what you think, and tell me if you think this is super obnoxious for a bag, but I think it's so fun with the right outfit. Like, I just think it's kind of weird, and I'm obsessed with it. So let's do thoughts really quickly. I'll be holding it like this the whole time to kind of illustrate my point. So the pattern is a great pattern. It's really easy to follow. There's like a lot of information. I did notice somebody on Ravelry mentioned that this part, the handle part, was poorly written, but I really have to disagree with that. I thought it was super simple to follow. Also, if you're having trouble, there's that YouTube video that you can also like work with. So, you know, it is what it is. But I found the pattern to be great. As far as like my yarn choice, I'm really happy with this. Super happy with the ruffles. Like, love how they turned out. Really like the t-shirt yarn. Will I be working with it again? You know what? Honestly, maybe. At the beginning, I thought, no, like hell no, never again, because my hands were hurting. And when you get to certain parts, you really have to like really work with it. But I really like it for certain things like this, because I think it's nice. Like, it has really great stitch definition, and the finishing it has is really nice. So I might work on it with it again for something else. I did end up using literally the full skein of this t-shirt yarn, and like this much more of another one. So if you're strategic and you're using the same t-shirt yarn, you can get away with one skein. So that's something to note. The Wool Ease Air, I believe is it discontinued? I don't know. I see it on their website. I haven't seen it at Michael since I got it on like super clearance. It's, if you like to see your stitches when you're working with it, this is not for you. So it's simple enough. I've worked with yarns that were much harder for stitch definition and all of that. And this one, like I mentioned before, you are working on vibes quite a bit. This brown one was worse for some reason than these two. And so like you're stabbing that thing in. It's like, it's vibes and a prayer at this point. Like, we don't even know where it is. We're just hoping we're in the right spot. But if you're working for a project like this, it's fine. And also because of the makeup of the yarn, it really hides a lot of imperfections. So like, you could do whatever you want and still don't look fine. It'll look the same. Like, it's a Hot Mess Express train, really. But overall, will I use this yarn again? I have it left over, so maybe. However, it sheds like a mofo. I'm wearing leggings, and I am just covered in this, just covered. So I'm not gonna wear this with anything black, obviously. But also, like, that's not an experience I want to have again, so I might not. But for this, it's perfect. Also, I like that I can hold it like a little clutch like this. But yeah, overall, like, I really like this pattern. I fully recommend it. I will say, so this is like a style opinion, maybe, that if you look at like the pictures of the pattern and how it's done and all that stuff, you have to be really, really clever with the kind of yarn that I think you would pick for this project, because it can look really old-fashioned and kind of out of style a little bit, depending on what you pick. However, if you go with like a funky yarn or cool colors, I think you can make this look really good. I really feel like it would be like a super awesome looking clutch bag if the yarn you chose was all in like pinks, so you can do like a whole clueless Barbie moment and add some sequin to it. Like that would be really fun. Just kind of like, or metallic yarn would be great for this. Even if you do like a more matte kind of yarn, but you embroider with gold thread or something around, like around the edges of the ruffle, that's another look for it too. But on its own, like I do feel like it could look a bit dated. However, I really like the way this turned out. And I think it's kind of like funky, it's different. It looks like a cool stylized type of bag. Like it's not for every day, obviously, but for the right occasion, I think it works. So let me know what you think of this yarn, of this bag, sorry, this clutch bag, and if you would make it. And if you have made it, I'd love to see what yours looks like. So I'm going to end this here. I am progressively getting sicker and sicker. So as always, thank you so much for subscribing if you are subscribed, and if you're not and you stuck around and you feel like subscribing, that'll be awesome. I will be back again next week with another video, and we'll see what I come up with next. Happy yarning, everyone.